Well, hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening it is to you anywhere you are around the world. My name is Sensei, and I would be sharing with you today a few tips on how you can overcome what we are going through currently in our world. We are experiencing what we have never thought or dreamt of that we would see in our lifetime. There's so much anxiety and fear because of what is happening. And so today, I'm going to be sharing with you three steps to overcoming fear. Now, before we go into that, I like to say that there are different kinds of fear. And the fear, because not all fear is bad. Some fear is good. There's the fear that causes you to be have a heightened sense of awareness to actually protect yourself. Now, that kind of fear is okay. And then there's the fear of God. But the fear I'm going to be addressing today is the kind of fear that has torments. Because wisdom says there is no fear in love. Perfect love casts out all fear because fear has torment. The kind of fear that torments you with anxiety, torments you with images that are not uplifting, images that are showing some kind of demise, negative images. So that's the fear I'm going to be addressing today. And so the first thing that you would want to do is to actually recognize what is happening, recognize the feeling, you know, being aware that I actually am feeling so afraid and admitting it. Because once you're aware of it, it's not a condemnation. Just think about it. Who amongst us hasn't felt fear, even if it's the slightest little bit, since all this happened? A lot of us have feared that. But when you recognize it, you're aware of it, what you're doing is you are now giving yourself an opportunity to actually deal with it. So when you recognize what is happening, this is how I'm feeling. I'm feeling this way. You can actually speak to someone that you respect or someone that you trust. Say, listen, I know I shouldn't feel this way, but this is how I'm feeling. Or you can actually speak to God about it. So the second thing you do to actually overcome that fear is to identify the thought that is causing you to fear, because there is a picture in your mind that you are seeing and thinking that is generating these feelings in you. So our thoughts are powerful. Our thoughts generate feelings, and these feelings now lead us to act a certain way. So the second thing you do is to identify the offending. I would like to say the culprits, the offending thoughts, the thought that's causing this. There is a thought that anytime you see in pictures. That's how we see. We see in pictures. That thought that is causing you to fear. It might be a thought that you're going to be infected. It might be a thought that your child, someone you love, is going to pass away. It might be a thought of whatever the thought is. Identifying the thought is the second step. And you're identifying it. Once you identify it, you're identifying it to take action. Remember, you're identifying it for a reason. So once you know that this is the thought, the third thing you do is to look for scriptures, look for the promises of God that provides you information to counteract these thoughts. I'm going to use, and that process, which is a step three, is meditation. So, meditation is the process that you replace those images that you've been having in your mind about that. So, I'm going to use an illustration. Maybe I'll use death, the fear of death. Maybe you're afraid that, oh, I'm going to die. You keep seeing pictures of death. How do you overcome this? Now, you go to God's word. There's so many promises in the word where you are promised long life. I'm going to take an illustration. Let me say, let's use um, um, Psalm 91. The last chapter says, with long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. In that promise, God is saying, I will satisfy you with long life. Think about it. He didn't say, I will satisfy you with death. So it means these thoughts that of death that has come to you is coming to oppose God. The promise is it's opposing to the promise that God has given to you. And so you're going to use this new information that you have gotten to override this information. And so you're going to begin to see the pictures. You say, "Oh, yes, with long life, I refuse to fear, because with long life has God satisfied me, and I will see the salvation of God." You begin to say that because the moment you say those words, you interrupt those thoughts. Yes, you interrupt those thoughts in your mind that are playing those pictures of fear. And right now, you start to play your own pictures. You start creating pictures based on what you have just discovered, that God has promised you new life. So has promised you long life. So you begin to see pictures. I'll give you an illustration. Start seeing pictures of you, maybe, after all this has passed, start seeing pictures of you going back to work, taking your kids to school, depending on the age, your kids going off to college, you getting a new job, you growing your career, even living to see yourself, you begin to see those images, you living to you retire, you living to see your kids get married, you living to travel the world. You begin to replace these images, these debilitating images of death, with images of life. So, those are the three steps that you can use to overcome fear in this period. First thing, recognize, being aware that this is even what I'm feeling. And the awareness, because what you're aware of, you can actually change. The second thing is to identify the thought that's producing this feeling that's causing me to act this way. Once you identify, the third thing is to meditate. And in the process of meditating, you go to God's word. You look for promises that actually, so it could be anything. You can use this for your finances. You can use this for your health. You can use this for your business. You can use this for your job. You can use this same process for anything. You go get those promises that God has concerning that circumstance. And in this instance, we're talking about fear of death. You take those promises and override what you were feeling before. Remember that you are powerful. Your spirit is powerful. You can overcome anything. You can walk through any situation and come out victorious. So be aware of that. Be conscious that you are not helpless. You are not powerless. You have the power to effect changes even in your life and in the lives of those around us. Sometimes we have to stand in faith for those around us who can't stand for themselves. And you are that person who is going to do it. And I just want to leave you with this word, that what we're going through, this too will pass. And you and we are going to come out together at the other side victorious. And so I'd like you to leave me comments, questions, whatever you have at the bottom, and I'll answer any question that you have. Until we see again, thank you and God bless.